Welcome to Das Boat, Season 3. If you watched the first 2 seasons, you know what this is all about. We find an old boat, something cheap with scars in history, then pass it around to the most interesting and brave anglers we know and explore some of the country's most unique fisheries. I'm Joe Cermelli, and I'm taking over this show from my boss, Stephen Ranella, this season. Now, I've fished all over the world, but I cut my teeth as an angler here in the Northeast. My mission sounded simple, at least on paper. Find a boat with genuine craftsmanship and intrinsic value, and get it seaworthy in a month so it could hit the road while all the best Northeast fisheries were in full swing. There's so many levels of used boat at the Jersey Shore, right? There's boat yards full of these things. There's so many in backyards, and you know it's out there somewhere.
I've never seen a center console when they put them cooler seats in.
It's got some crunch.
It may not look like much, but this 1973 center console Mako is a classic, man.
Oh, let's see what we got here, man.
Its bones are good, even if the deck is rotten, the electrical's shot, and it just needs like a ridiculous amount of work before we can put it on the water.
This boat has no idea how lucky it is. Not only is it getting redecked, but like this thing's been sitting for God knows how long, and now it's going to go on one hell of an adventure.
Going under the board.
I can't even believe that just happened.
That's what I've been waiting for. There we go.
Bigger boat, bigger challenges, bigger water, same bad ideas. This is Das Boat Northeast. This week, we're headed to the swamp. And by that I mean Washington, D.C., to hunt down 2 invasive species. One of them is feared and reviled, though it's gaining more acceptance all the time among anglers and chefs. And the other, well, frankly, most people don't even know it's invasive. Snakeheads and blue catfish both call the Potomac River home, but to knock on their doors, we have to spend time in 2 very different parts of this ecosystem. To take point on this episode, we've called in hardcore angler Kristine Fischer. She comes from a multi-generational fishing family in the Midwest and has been on the road full-time for the last 2 years competing in kayak fishing tournaments. As a professional bass angler, she understands why predatory snakeheads, which share habitat with largemouths, are so controversial. Joining her is none other than the GM of MeatEater's culinary department, Kevin Gillespie. While he's pretty far from being a professional angler, he has a lifetime of knowledge about handling and cooking fish. One of our targets he serves regularly at one of his restaurants. The other he's never seen in person. These 2 will have to work together to have any shot of bringing these species back to the camp table. And along the way, they're aiming to find out just how big a problem snakeheads and blue cats really are. But before we even pull into the nation's capital, Das Boat needs to upgrade the total piece of trailer she's been riding.
Boy, that trailer that was underneath boat really sucked.
So, listen, we kind of feared the trailer wasn't going to make the entire trip, but we put so much into the boat, we didn't really leave much time for the trailer. And as predicted, our fears came true.
Yeah, I heard it was making noises. What I saw was the hub was getting ready to come off. They were riding metal to metal on the spindle. They wouldn't have made it a couple more miles where that thing would have splattered all over the highway.
Yeah, all that stuff sounded really bad. So I'm glad I wasn't driving it on this leg. And I'm also glad I wasn't the one that had to shell out for a brand new trailer to keep this junk show going.
What do you think?
Doesn't look too bad.
Well, I mean,
Everybody loves a challenge.
it's definitely got some age, some patina. That's what they call it. That's when it's sophisticated.
Engage brain before operating this boat.
All right.
Exclamation
Got it.
mark.
Got
Big
it.
exclamation mark.
Engage brain.
All right, number 5, remain calm at all times.
That's gonna be a problem.
Yep.
Number 6, don't call Frank if you have any problems.
JK, and then there's a number, and then peace. Essentially, I think mothershiping. This is our mothership.
Okay.
With the kayaks, we got to figure out how to get them on this boat and then get them into where we're going in the backwaters. This boat doesn't obviously draft very shallow.
So I know that you fish out of a kayak all the time.
I do, yep.
Believe it or not, I am not a professional kayak fisherman.
You look the part, though.
I just came in costume, but I am very excited about the snakehead, but for a completely different reason. I have a dish that I have been wanting to make for 20 years probably. It's a Vietnamese dish that is traditionally made with snakehead, and I've never had snakehead. So
we're gonna get some, and I'm super excited to eat it. Because believe it or not, I am not a very good cook. I know I look the part.
Right.
I don't do many kitchen things. So
you're gonna have to teach me how to do basically everything other than cook, and then I'll show you how to cook.
For the second half of their adventure, Kevin and Kristine are going to be fishing the weedy backwaters of the Potomac for snakeheads, and there's no way Das boat will make it up some of these skinny creeks. We're talking 1 to 2 feet of water loaded with thick, nasty hydrilla and lily pads, so they'll need to find a way to attach kayak mounts to the gunnels of the Mako.
I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere.
They feel pretty safe.
They do feel really safe. If it was flawless and worked perfectly, it wouldn't be very Das boat. That's not really how we do things here.
I mean, he's not wrong, but just putting 3M 5200 adhesive on pretty much everything isn't going to make it any more flawless.
Lift with your back, not your legs.
That's right.
Okay, hold on, ready?
Yep. Oh, hear that crunch?
Yep. Oh, look, it's right there. Look, it's split.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna have extra ratchet straps for.
Yep, exactly. Extra ratchet straps.
Okay.
I'm thinking these two might need a little more help than they've let on, and wouldn't you know it, I just happen to be in the area.
Guys,
Hey, what's happening, Joe?
so I come bearing gifts.
Okay, what do you got?
Proper bait for catfish, part of this adventure. What I got for you, we got some bluefish.
Okay.
This is a few days old, and it's gonna be nice and oily.
Ooh.
This, you smell that?
Yeah, it's not great.
It's pungent.
That's good. That is
It
great.
stings the nostrils.
Good for bait.
Good for
This would
bait.
Bad for
actually be
dinner.
my second choice. I had 2 American shad from my shad season back home, left
Ooh.
in my freezer,
Gotta work
and I am donating them to your cause.
Wow.
That is gold right there.
That's what they like?
Yeah, and these same fish run the Potomac every
Okay.
spring. So this is something that these cats in here are used to smelling. This is one of the greatest baits in the entire world.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. That was a hell of a
That's
gift.
definitely
Yeah.
gonna help.
So while I'm
For
here, I
sure.
want to show you guys just a couple of waypoints too. Some spots where I've been successful,
Okay.
right
Oh, awesome.
in the heart of the city. We can go over some rigs and stuff. It's pretty easy fishing, but just to give you guys a little primer.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
I'm sure you guys already have a bunch of this stuff, but I do blue cats with nothing but circle hooks. All right, so all you have to do is put a huge chunk of bait on there, send it always downstream behind the boat, and these will set themselves. So when the blue cat comes along, I leave the rods just locked in the holders, and you'll often see like little channel cats and things, they'll just tap the rod, you'll see little bounces, and you'll get excited, but you're waiting for it to start bending and not come back up.
Okay.
That's the blue cat.
So how big are these fish?
You have the potential to catch a fish 50 pounds or better. The biggest one I've ever caught in DC proper right downtown was 35 pounds, and that was actually on the bank with a surf fishing rod. So you have an advantage being on the boat. They're there.
That's crazy.
River
Yep.
monsters.
And I know you have experience cooking them, and I know you guys
Yeah.
definitely want to cook some this time.
Yes.
Bear in mind, because they're invasive, there's no size limit, there's no bag limit. Of the 2 things you guys are doing though, you're gonna work harder for the snakes.
For sure.
That's a little
Yeah.
bit more technical
Okay.
fishery, and I know you guys are plugged in
But
on that.
you know that kind of stuff really
I'm
well.
stoked about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a pile of frogs on you.
I've got a plethora of frogs. I have a binder of frogs. Any frog you name it, I've got it.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Catfishing will be the easy one.
It turns out that our modification to hold our kayaks is not strong enough, so we need to go do a little bit more
Sounds
caulking.
familiar. I've been
So,
exactly where you guys
Yeah.
are right now.
Good to
Best
see
of
you
luck.
guys. Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Kill 'em out there.
Thank you, sir.
I'm good with that.
Cool.
Yep.
Blue cats are native to North America, but not to the Potomac or Chesapeake system. They were intentionally stocked south of here in the James River in the early 70s, and they thrived far beyond anyone's expectations, which led to fears among some biologists that they might harm native marine life like blue claw crabs or outcompete the native white catfish population.
How about this urban setting here? Urban fishing at its finest.
Yeah, I'm I don't know why I didn't realize that we would just be putting in like directly in front of the Pentagon.
Yeah.
I didn't think they let you do that, but I guess I don't know. This is cool. It's very cool. This is definitely urban fishing.
Yeah, what a wild
pretty
setting.
awesome. Yeah. It's the Pentagon. It's a thing and it's right there.
While the blue cat's impact on blue crabs is still being assessed, those native white catfish have all but disappeared as the blues have outcompeted them for food and prime habitat. But the whites don't grow nearly as large as blues, so anglers don't often lament that loss too loudly. Blues are now accepted by most and embraced by many, but they still aren't really supposed to be here. Commercial fishermen harvest over 1.5 million pounds of blue cats from the Chesapeake system every year, and monsters weighing north of 80 pounds aren't uncommon. There's no lack of structure in the Potomac where it necks down and cuts through the heart of D.C., like bridge pylons, rocky flats, and deep holes. The drawback, though, is that it's popular with healthy, sportsy type people on crew boats like you see in the Olympics. Fun fact, these people think they own this part of the river and you're always in their way, but bonus fun fact, they don't, okay?
Yeah, that looks fishy right here.
Yeah.
I think Joe set us up with some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
He mentioned we do want to use these flat-sided weights. Those are going to hang up a lot less.
Okay.
So let's grab those rods. We're
These
gonna
look homemade.
Oh, actually, me and my trusty hammer made those, thanks. And you're welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna clip those on the snaps right there, and then we'll cut some bait.
I feel like normally my job will be the cutting of fish, you know, but
yeah,
I'm taking my cues from you for the moment here.
You know, I didn't historically do a lot of cat fishing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
there are people who catfish is their jam.
It's a lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
It's a straight up culture.
I mean, when I think of catfish, this is sort of funny, but I immediately think of Ryan Callahan from our MeatEater team diving into the water and like jamming his arm in and, you know, pulling up a giant catfish.
Have you ever noodled?
Hell no.
Oh, it's fun.
I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah.
So, no.
Speaking of the catfish, I mean, I feel like any minute now, it's gonna happen.
I'll be honest with you, I thought it already happened.
Here's what I'm thinking. So there's obviously a little more visual current over here.
Right.
And I don't know if catfish kind of relate to that, but almost everything else does.
Okay.
So do you want to maybe try and slide up and get onto that where there's a little bit more current, maybe closer to that bank, and just try it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's try here for a little bit.
Okay.
We'll put some fresh bait on too. That can't hurt anything, you know?
Okay.
I've done a fair amount of fishing on this part of the river, and I have stuck some tanks in this very spot. But the thing is, I've only been here in the winter and spring, not in the middle of the summer, so I'm hoping there's at least one eater-sized catfish still swimming around in my honey hole.
Yep. It's hung up in the rock, but I got it out. Little Potomac blue. Where's your mom at? Or grandma? All right. There you go. So reel down, lift your rod up. Yep, keep tent. There you go. There you go.
Oh yeah, here we go. This is a decent
one.
There we go. That's about the size of that last one.
Yeah. There you go.
Ta-da! Look at that. From a chef's perspective, this is the size of fish you want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great eater.
Look at that. Look at him. She's a beaut, Clark.
She's a beaut, Clark. Well, Kev, we've given this a pretty fair shot, I think.
I think so. We've been here about 3 hours, give or take.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got an instinct that we need to move and look for Big Mama.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Kev, let's try something different. It seems like when we drop down, we get bit and then it's nothing for a while. Let's rig up a float rig, and that's gonna allow us to cover a little bit more water and maybe put our bait in front of some active fish. And we're gonna run the trolling motor and just kind of cover a little bit, so.
With this method, you drift instead of anchoring up, bouncing your rig along the bottom, essentially bringing the bait to the fish instead of waiting for the fish to come find the bait.
There we go.
Yeah! Holy cow, Kevin, a plan worked.
Ha ha! Look at it.
Man, they're beautiful fish, though. Look at the colors on that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty one. All right. Yes.
Plan worked.
3. I mean, I feel like those 3 fish are plenty, and they're nice size ones. Like, unless you want to keep going, I think we have what we need for right now, at least.
Well, I mean, I always want to keep going, but we do have a long day tomorrow for snakehead.
And we still got some stuff that needs to get done.
I got a fair amount of rigging to do.
Yeah.
Well, I never make the call to get off the water, so you're gonna have to do it.
All right, well, let's rein her in here. I'll pull you in this time.
Okay.
So.
The next morning, Kevin and Kristine meet up with my good friend, local bass fisherman and MeatEater contributor Pete Robbins to get his perspective on the invasive and polarizing snakehead population.
Well, this is quite the sight to behold. This looks a lot different than yesterday.
A lot different. No monuments around. We're in the midsection of the tidal Potomac River today. This is Leesylvania State Park.
Okay.
Between Powell's Creek and Neabsco Creek. This is sort of Snakehead Central on the Potomac. So this is where you guys want to be chasing your snakeheads today.
It looks super fishy. There's vegetation, eelgrass, and milfoil everywhere. I'm getting a little antsy.
But I think you guys are in for a treat.
We got something special for you here, Pete. We've been doing some things, doing a little bit of work, and we'd like to show you what we've got.
I'm pretty anxious to see it.
But here, let's...
Local fisheries biologist John Odenkirk is a legend. He's the utmost expert on snakeheads in the area and has been tracking them since they were first discovered in this system 20 years ago. He also has one hell of a mean handshake.
Well, I'd love to know, like, how did these things even get here in the first place?
Nobody's made that deathbed confession yet, but our best guess is, based on the epicenter of the original distribution, somebody probably introduced them into Doe Creek, which is very close to here. In the back of that Fort Belvoir area off of Route 1, there's a lot of Asian markets there. We're not sure, why they were released there, but it looks like that was the original point of contact for this whole system. And then they radiated out from there.
Do you have a sense of how the population has changed? Because I feel like 5-6 years ago, I was catching 1 per trip, and now I catch 1 every other trip, probably.
Okay, so yeah, that's fairly in context with what we're seeing. We've actually done a lot of sampling surveys with electrofishing, and what we've seen is we've tracked this progression. The population exploded early on. And a lot of invasive species, when they come into a new habitat, they sort of have this competitive advantage. And they're abundant, they shoot up, until they get figured out by both, all the predators and animals around them, whether it's human or birds or whatever. So we saw that rapid rise. We kind of have this peak. And then we had the slope was not as steep as the rise, but there's no question it's a downward trend. And it's been happening now probably around here for about 6 years, 5 years. I mean, that number's just tick, tick, tick down every year. And I think because of the exploitation, people love these fish. They're fun to catch, they're good to eat. And now with the archeries, I mean, people are out here at night, it's like gigging flounder with the lights on and hammering these fish. And
the snakehead population is going down. Like, how are they negatively impacting anything?
Well, okay, I can't say there's no negative impacts. But what I can tell you is it looks like the bass fishery and the snakehead fishery are operating completely independently of one another. Some of the things that are good for one are also good for the other, like aquatic vegetation. So times are good for everybody right now, it seems like. And typically what I tell bass anglers that want to catch a snakehead, I said, do what you're doing, just make sure you're weedless and fish way shallower than you would normally fish for bass. Because a lot of times these fish are in less than a foot of water. And I mean, really shallow, like 4 inches, 5, especially now.
I know you can't stand it. You got to get out there.
I'm having a tough time. When I start casting,
she's so excited.
I hear fish blowing up back there, so I wanted to learn about these fish. Like I've talked to a lot of people that have fished for them. I've never had the chance to, so I appreciate the info and your insight here. It's really neat to learn about them.
Yeah, really
thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, fun.
Y'all have a good one. All right, take care. See ya.
Well, what do you think?
I mean, they're not gonna get any. They're not gonna get any more stable.
Nope, 90 safer. I think we gotta get a shot, right? We got some fish to catch.
Right, exactly. Burning daylight here.
Let's go catch some snakes, Kev.
Let's do it.
When snakeheads were first discovered in the Potomac in the early 2000s, there was a general hysteria that you don't often find in wildlife discussions. Everyone clung to overhyped, misleading semi-facts like the snakehead's ability to breathe air and walk on land. There are elements of truth to both of these, but they're survival mechanisms. Like snakeheads aren't gonna crawl across the lawn and eat your cat. Still, people were so terrified, there were even awful B horror movies made about what the media dubbed Frankenfish.
Okay. Got it. Come back.
I was gonna jump in it. I can make it.
Ha
Oh, I don't have a paddle.
Bye.
That was not.
No, you got it. You're gonna float to it.
I'm gonna try to.
You're gonna float to it.
I'm getting there. We've arrived. I'll fish here and then maybe I'll get a little closer once I fish all of this stuff, you know?
Snakeheads spook really easily, so Kristine and Kevin are going to need to keep their kayaks at least 30 to 40 feet from the banks. Using straight 40-pound braid with a hollow body frog, they'll make long casts, working the areas with matted grass and heavy vegetation. Now, if a fish takes a shot, you've got to give it a beat and then set. Otherwise, you'll pull that frog right out of that fish's mouth. The weed mats are extremely thick, making moving through them difficult for even a professional kayak fisherman like Kristine. But she's a trooper, she's on a mission, and these weeds are not gonna hold her back.
Holler if you get anything.
If you'll know if I get something, the whole world will hear about it.
With fishing being so tough, and with only a couple hours left, Kevin shot back to shore to set up camp, leaving Kristine the last few hours of the afternoon to bring home the main course. Much of the hysteria surrounding the infestation of snakeheads came from bass fishermen who feared the new predators would eat and outcompete their favorite fish, conveniently ignoring the irony that bass were also introduced to the Potomac and much of the eastern seaboard. But 2 decades after the fish were discovered, many of those concerns have proven to be unfounded.
Jackhammer's caught. Get in the net, get in the net. Yes! 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 Woo! I can't even believe that just happened.
Sometimes snakeheading is easy. Today, it was more like muskie fishing. It took about 10,000 casts. So, I certainly know just how good Kristine feels after working so hard.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going? I got a little surprise for you.
Yeah, is it your sunburn?
Yeah, that and. Lo and behold, they do exist.
That's a not small fish.
No, it's actually a pretty decent one.
Wow.
You think you can make work of that?
I think I can. Let's see what happens here.
So, everyone was kind of saying that they're really, big and evil and kind of nasty looking.
Yeah.
Man, I guess because I'm just a musky angler, but I think that thing looks like a kitten compared to most of the stuff that I chase.
It's definitely got a really cool color pattern on it, like this sort of iridescent-like look about it. These scales are no joke. Kind of a crazy looking fish. Well,
there it is. I guess we'll find out, eh?
Yeah, I guess we're about to find out right now. So, I think any chef, we just get tremendous joy when you finally get to work with an ingredient that you've wanted to work with, that you haven't had a chance. What's your take on this whole native, non-native, invasive conversation?
I thought it was really interesting, especially hearing from the biologists in the area. I don't see the two kind of overlapping, I don't see any issue.
I understand that we were worried for a long time about habitat depletion and that this thing was just going to wreck the ecosystem. But now that they've shown that it hasn't, I think it's time to let it be, Right.
I mean, I think it's kind of a neat thing that they're here, and there's not a lot of places in the country you can catch them.
Hey, all right, well, let's cook this. Let's get it over here
good.
together.
This is Kevin's time to shine. Garlic, shallots, ginger, and a magical Vietnamese sauce poured over blue cat and snakehead fillets, all cooked down and garnished with scallions, red chili pepper, and fresh ground black pepper.
There we go. At this point, it's just eat it. Like, are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let me give you some rice.
Very
So,
impressed.
catfish.
Snakehead.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna go with snakehead first.
Is it hot?
Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful.
Wow, that's really tender meat too.
It's super tender.
Yeah.
I know when I heard firm, I was thinking, oh man, is it gonna be
It's
like
really
swordfish steaky? But no, it's ultra tender.
So surprisingly enough, our mounts withstood what we put them through.
Right?
I can't even.
Look, I know I played uber confident when I installed those mounts, but inside I was thinking we have one, they're holding one time. We're gonna get the kayaks on them once and we're gonna get them off, and when we get them off, they're going into the water with them.
Keep on. Yep.
I really kind of want to sign the boat.
We have to.
Yeah, we got to leave a message,
yeah, just
right?
like Bree and Jay.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, from what I understand, this thing is headed now to Lake Champlain, I think. That's a big body of water.
Huge, incredible smallmouth fishing, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're probably not going to do that.
Let's go sign it, give them our best wishes and brilliant advice, and then turn it over to them.
Sounds good. Let's
Awesome.
go. That's a catfish, by the way.
On the next episode of Das Boat, we're taking the Old Mako inland to Lake Champlain, the third largest lake in the Northeast. Oliver Nye and Blaine Chocolate take the helm, but not for Champlain's famous smallmouths or pike. They're after the native bowfin, the hidden gems of this lake that don't get the love they should.